Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Getting with the Program, talking about episode 8 of season 2 of My Hero Academia Battle on Challenges. I am, of course, your ever friendly Pokeprof, joined once again by Kitty Kross
Hello.
and Ashen Sky.
Wow, what a damage.
So, this episode was pretty much just a quick bam through, really, of all the secondary characters. The characters that really don't have the main focus as far as, the story is concerned. Because it's a tournament arc, you actually have to go through the actual tournament bits. But each character was still able to show off some of their powers, some of their personality, and just goes to show just like what they're capable of, and in some cases show it quite silly. So we had our lightning powered character. I'm gonna be going mostly by descriptions here because, like I said, I'm not familiar with the characters' names enough to know most of them. Went up against one of the girls from the 1B class who had plans for hair. And he lost swiftly after he tried to ask her out. What, no comments from either of you two?
Oh, that's basically it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except that her hair's not just plants; it's specifically thorny vines.
I know, but she is more or less poison ivy, really.
And she's apparently religious.
Not sure about that. All we really see is the fact that she is like, I'm just wanting to bring salvation to all, and all this kind of stuff. And
well, then at the very least, she's got sort of a pious demeanor.
Yeah, because she actually takes offense to the microphone hero that's like been the MC for the entire,
Present Mike.
Yeah, he's basically called her an assassin, really just because of how she looks. And she took basically umbrage with that, which kind of goes along with, again, like what we talked about a few episodes ago with the mind control guy. It's like these are characters who are presented in a way that you would normally associate with villains, and they're not. They're heroes. And so I love it when the show goes, hey, just a reminder, she's a good character. She's a good person. Most of the people in here are. It's like even Bakugo, for all of his Vegeta tendencies, is a good character. In the end, he's wanting to be a hero.
So far, the only guy that I really have just liked in this whole tournament arc is Mr. Asshole.
Yeah, the copycat from the previous episodes. Because at one point, when our little lightning bug lost, he was basically making fun of him. And then one of his classmates, a girl who her quirk apparently is being able to make her hands huge, literally chops him in the back of the neck and pulls him away. And I paused the episode while we were watching this and said, oh my god, it's Brock and Misty. It is, because that was the whole thing for Misty for years in the Pokemon anime. Is like she would go grab him by the ear whenever he hit on a girl and just pull him away.
It's funny you say that, considering she is also a redhead and has a side ponytail.
Mm-hmm. It's like, if they actually designed her specifically to be a Misty reference, I will laugh my butt off. But after that match, we had Washu, as I've come to name her, versus Ida. And it was hilarious. She literally made the entire match about showing off all of her inventions.
Even the guys up in the booth, Eraserhead and the MC guy are like, she's basically turning this into a commercial.
Yeah, it's like I am Washu. Welcome to my TED Talk. Here are my babies. Use them.
Billy Mays here with a special TV offer.
It pretty much. And apparently the entire presentation lasted about 10 plus minutes.
Gotta feel bad for Ida there.
Yeah, because
he was used.
Yeah, because the whole deal was the fact that Washu approached him to actually use the babies, because she, wanted to quote unquote give him a fair fight and whatnot. And Ida being
Sorry. Hatsume, her name is. She basically played him just so that he could help show off her goods.
Yeah, her babies, as she calls them. And I know her name is Hatsume. I'm always going to be calling her Washu-hun, especially since we have no guarantee she's going to be a character from this point onward. Is like she very much strikes me as a character who is there to be like an interesting side character, and then unless they actually need her for a future story event, we're probably never going to see her again after this is over. It's the same thing with our mind control guy, that we had. He's there to give a really interesting story element, a really interesting idea, but isn't there really to explore it. It's just saying, hey, here's a cool concept, a character who has a power that's normally evil but is all 100% good. And so that's for me, it's like that's something you see common in anime and video games and what have you. It's like you have a whole bunch of these little side stories that in the end usually don't amount anything to the main story, but are there to entertain you and help move the main story along.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I feel like Washu is. So I will be very surprised if we see her again after this. Cues Sky laughing evilly in the background because he knows she's going to become a major player in season 3 or what have you.
Washu?
Yeah, because I don't know anything, and you've seen season 3, so. Well, basically, I'm making out to her as far as I know.
I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, I know you're not going to tell us. But basically, but that's my point, is that as of what information we currently have and what we've seen of her, she's a side character that isn't going to amount to much in the end scheme of things. But for all I know, she's the one that comes up with a cure for All Might to be able to stay All Might for the rest of his life. So, I don't know.
Moving on, the fight between Tokoyama and Creation Girl.
Oh.
I felt really bad for her. She didn't really get a chance to really showcase her quirk.
Yeah, she got pushed onto the defensive immediately and wasn't able to. And that was actually one of the interesting, like, little weaknesses of her quirk that's now been shown off. It's like, yeah, she can create things literally out of nothing, but she requires focus. Being unable to focus, unable to think and, get ready for her strategy, she was just pushed off and, defeated fairly simply. But in this particular case, I also think it doesn't matter as much in that particular case because one thing you also got to keep in mind is like, yeah, showing it's like going back to Washu just to explain this. Washu actually had the right idea. Because in the end, it's like, yeah, if you're the winner, you're the winner, but that's no guarantee you're going to be like the number one hero or the most recruited hero.
The whole point of this entire festival is to get yourself out there.
Yeah,
but that's why I feel so bad for her. She didn't get a chance to really showcase what she can do, because it takes so long for her to focus. Because it's been made apparent that the reason that she's able to create things in order to do so, she has to know their exact chemical makeup and their atomic structure and everything. So she's got to focus on all that in order to be able to create it.
Yeah, but here's also
sometimes you need to fail before you can succeed.
Yeah, not only that, you also got to think of another big element, and one thing I wanted to bring up is also just like the terms of like the backstory and what is known about the character, because anybody who is going to look at our creation girl's powers and abilities, it's like, because you got to think, it's like if I were a hero within the world of My Hero Academia, and I was looking for characters who, had particular powers or whatnot that matched my own, for me, it wouldn't matter that she lost to someone, like our, like Tokiyami's Dark Shadow, because it's like, yeah, Tokiyami's Dark Shadow is something that was able to strike out and push her out of the ring, but that tells me nothing about his offense ability or defense abilities in a real fight. That's just pushing out of the ring, for one. For two, we've already been established what is Tokiyami's Shadow's like biggest weakness. It's like it's weaker during the day, it's almost uncontrollable at night, stuff like that. It's like it's more than just like one thing of how the powers are working. It also goes back to like our mind control guy. It's yeah, his power is normally considered to be evil, but he was able to show just through what he was able to do in the fight against Deku that his power has uses that heroes might need to think about and use in different ways. And with her actually getting into the academia by recommendation alone, even if she doesn't make a good showing here, she's still going to be considered to be one of the most wanted applicants just for that and her quirk. It's like those two combined, even if she doesn't really show to be that all that good in a fight, she's still going to be a hero that people are going to be looking at and watching because of her background. But let's see. Other than that, we also have Mina, our little pink acid girl, against Mr. Bellybutton, and I love the fact that it actually goes and reminds us of Mr. Bellybutton's weakness is the fact that he can only shoot his laser so much. And out of all the characters, out of all the heroes that we have seen in the show so far, I am legitimately curious on how they're going to present an interesting use of his power, because his power is pew 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 all on his stomach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so far really the only real thing we've seen him do is throw himself backward by shooting with his stomach for, to try and get further in a long jump, and it didn't work. So out of everyone's powers we've really seen so far, his seems to feel the most one-trick pony-ish, And then the final match that was shown in this episode was Tetsu, and our Hard as Rock guy going on.
Kirishima.
Yeah, thank you, Kirishima. Going on in a actual brawl that literally ends in a tie because those two are so alike. They're like punch, 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 KO, ding dong. To where it's actually hilarious because frickin' Midnight, who's the ref, is like, yeah, we're not gonna have these two fight again. They're gonna try like arm wrestling or something to decide the winner between these two when they wake up, which I found to be hilarious. And then throughout this entire episode, and it reinforces that aspect of Deku that we've known since the beginning of the season, he is a nerd. He is, throughout all these matches, literally scribbling in his notebook, the burned notebook that frickin' Bakugo thrashed, at the beginning of the series, of everyone's powers, abilities, what they can do, and basically is going, okay, so this person could do this person could do that. If I need facing this person, I need to do this. To where he is muttering so much that everyone is kind of like just sweat dropping around him.
I mean, since you've seen a bit of JoJo, you can see all the ominous symbols in the air.
Yeah. It's
menacing.
Like, woo. But it's really cool to reinforce that, and it also makes everyone, what's her face, Uraraka, get a little like overwhelmed when Deku's like, yeah, no, I've done research and whatnot, and everyone's like, here's everything I know about your powers. And it's like, she's like a little freaked out about that. It's like, yikes. It's like, I knew he was smart and intelligent, but this is a little crazy kind of deal. No, he's an otaku. That's what he is. And now that I've said that aloud, it's like, yeah, Deku is an otaku who got superpowers. We're all in trouble. But really, the most interesting fight, I think, is going to be this next episode, because it is Bakugo versus Uraraka. And I do not see this ending well at all. Simply because, as much as I love Uraraka, her power is not an offensive one. She is very much what I would classify as a support power character. And we all know how rough Bakugo can get. So
He doesn't hold anything back.
Yep, and even the characters themselves say in the when Deku and Uraraka are talking, he's like, Kachan's not going to hold anything back. He is going to go all out, even against a girl. So it's like, he even offers, because he knows probably better than anyone else what Bakugo is capable of. Not just because of his research, but just because the two have known each other since they were kids. So he knows exactly what Bakugo is going to be capable of doing and offers a strategy for Uraka to take advantage of, saying, I think this is the best way you have being able to actually defeat him. And she turns him down, and it's all because of Ida, believe it or not. Because she's like, when Ida went on and said, we're all rivals here, I gotta go and stand on my own merits. It's like, as much as we're friends, we're rivals too in this instance. She agrees with him. It's like she actually feels ashamed. Like, he's right. It's like, I've been kind of just following Deku because he's my friend. And it's like, but I will also want to be a hero. I want to go out there and fulfill my dreams and make it so that my family doesn't have to pay for anything anymore and stuff like that. And to where it's like she actually turns down Deku's offer of help, and it's like, that really impressed me. It shows a little bit of character growth. I still think the poor girl's gonna be going off like Team Rocket in this next episode, but I really really liked it. Any thoughts from you two? You're both being kind of quiet this episode.
I'm just letting you talk, honey.
I'm just not going to spoil the next episode.
First off, I know why you're quiet. You're quiet because you don't want to spoil craps. That's simple as that. That, and it's also like trying to dig out a freaking tooth from at a dentist's office sometime to actually get you to give your opinion. Which is why I like to needle you sometimes, Sky. But you,
Needle.
But for you, you usually also just jump in with your commentary half the time, so I'm a little surprised you didn't.
Well, you were pretty much covering everything already.
Yes, that's why you go and tell me to shut up and give your own opinion.
I've tried jumping in a couple of times, honey, but I don't want to do it too much, so.
Always go and just smack me around and say, hey, let me speak if you're wanting to give your own opinion. And really, I was just covering over the things that I liked. Tell me, what was something that you liked or what was something you thought interesting?
Don't tell me to smack you around, honey. I might take you up on it.
Oh, good lord.
But
G-rated for the YouTube.
Now you're sounding like midnight.
Youthful vigor, I'll allow it. But yeah, there were some really funny moments in this one, especially with the whole match between Ida and Hatsume and her whole turning the whole thing into freaking advertisement for her gear. And then getting to see Deku nerd out again for the first time in a while with his, taking notes and everything. It's I'm just really anxious to see what's going to happen next, especially after last episode and how we left off with Todoroki. Oh, I'm really looking forward to the match between him and Deku.
Yeah, no, he was just looming in the background in this episode. He got a single shot to himself, his arm crossed, and that frown on his face, like no, 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 no. And that was it. That's really all we got to see of him this time around.
But now we got to see how things go with Bakugo and Uraraka, and yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, hon. I don't think it's gonna end well for Ochako.
Yeah, like I said, it's a combination of the characters' personalities and their powers. I don't see Uraraka doing well here. It's like I'm honestly kind of wish that Deku had gone over his strategy for how she would win, because I am legitimately curious on how he would do it. Because actually, here's something I want to bring up before we actually end this episode and go on to the next. And one thing I want to mention, because it reminds me of an older anime and manga, to be honest. So one thing that we actually saw, I think it was in the mind controlling guy episode, was, what was it? It was where Eraserhead had gone on and had noticed the fact that the throw that Deku had done on our mind control guy was the exact same thing that he had done on Bakugo on a previous exam, right?
Mhm.
And we also see at least one other reference to that where it's like where he's basically making note of the fact that Deku is going and using different events that we have seen over the course of this anime to go and add to what he's capable of doing. And you know
He's
what this,
adapting.
yeah, but you know what this actually reminded me of? This actually kind of reminded me of Angelic Layer, if you've ever heard or seen it.
I've never seen it.
Okay, so basic idea is just it's a clamp product. It's from the people who made Cardcaptor Sakura.
I know who Clamp is.
Just making sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know everyone's knowledge and preference for anime. So
They also did X 1999 and Magic Knight Rayer.
Mm-hmm. But one of the whole major thing about Angelic Layer was you essentially could get these little dolls that you could control. And one of the biggest thing is it was kind of like Pokemon in that respect, where you could basically can go get your own doll, style it up, and dress it up however you want, and then you could put on this little VR system and fight with it. And one of the really cool things about that show, and something I'm seeing now with Bakugo, not Bakugo, excuse me, with Deku, is because the main character in that show had something similar to where she could watch someone or see a character fight in a certain fighting style or see a character jump or move in a particular way, and after seeing it enough times she was able to incorporate it into her angel, into her little doll, and use that in future fights. And I always found that to be like a really cool way of showing character growth, that she was learning from her enemies and being able to grow and become stronger because of that. And seeing Deku do the same thing is really interesting.
Copycat!
Like I said, I have a weakness for copycats, which is really saddens me that the guy with the copycat power in this show is a shithead.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. Any other thoughts before we move on?
An asshole, Leo, Leo.
Well, there goes.
Nope.
Oh my god. All right, so we have nothing else we want to cover?
Eager to get to the next fight.
Nope.
All right. Well, in that case, then, I wish you all a wonderful day. And until then, folks, stay frosty.
See you next time.
It's gonna be a dead battle!